Hello and welcome to today's Stocks and Crypto TA Charts live stream with me, No FOMO Charts. Today is Sunday, October 9th, 2022, just about 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday night here in the USA. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to try to do a shorter stream today. And just want to say thank you for watching and following. I'm live streaming on TradingView, YouTube, Twitch, and we also have a Discord as well. The big news with stock market this week is two things. Number one, stock market earnings season begins for financial bank companies here in the USA. Number two is we have economic data being released this week, notably the PPI numbers, CPI numbers, retail sales numbers, and some FOMC meeting minutes as well, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we also have earnings Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So it's going to be a volatile week, to say the least. Let's just go over some of the tickers here. So starting off, we have the S&P 500, the SPY. Okay, take a long-term approach here on the weekly chart. Okay, we had a bull rally bounce attempt. We attempted to bounce. Now, if we Fibonacci, I'm on a weekly chart right now. Bottom to top, so pandemic low to pandemic high. We are nowhere near the 50% investment retrace. Okay, so two things can possibly happen, just two scenarios. This is mostly earnings based. If earnings are basically bad, the big financial companies, the big tech companies at the end of this month, early November, you could see all of this space down here that we can continue to crash in a bear market. Definitely possible. What numbers? That's about 342 on the SPY ETF. The 618 down here, 311. Okay, this is probably going to be an interesting spot right here, the pandemic high of 2020, which is 324.72. I know some people have been saying, okay, yes, there are indicators on the weekly on at least maybe somebody was saying last week, the stochastic RSI or something like that is low, but okay. Fundamentally, though, we need to make sure that inflation starts to come down. And so until we see those numbers, I'm presuming we're going to have bearish reaction. The only thing that can save the market is positive earnings in the next 30 days. Or if there's some extreme government changes. Just want to point that out to people. That's the bearish scenario. If we do happen to bounce up, 375, bullish scenario, resistance 389. So you can see it's very critical right now. It attempted to bounce last week, but we crashed down on Friday on bad news. So it's also very apparent that the trend right now with these companies is if they have bad news, they're releasing it before earnings to make sure that the price shock is not too extreme. So notably AMD, for example, on Friday, right? The only good potential setup on a daily is maybe this is upside down head and shoulders at best, with potentially 3.72% increase, possibly at 384 bullish target to the upside. There is a trend line here on the top on the S&P 500, so that's obviously the bullish target at the top side. If we zoom out a little bit, we could see still holding the support. That's why 360 right here in the yellow box. We're still holding the $360 support level. So either it's going to hold that support and we're going to either crash down below it, right? I'm talking about now this blue circle. This is what I'm talking about. This is kind of that risk zone, I'm going to call it. Once we lose this blue line support right here at 360, that could be a bearish, heavy bearish sell-off, which would be bad for the market. So it's basically a support play for technical analysis. Can we hold? The last time we had good earnings back in June, July, led by Apple, we definitely held this support range and we bounced up kind of. The bears still tried to be bearish, but they couldn't hold on. And then we had a nice short squeeze, bullish rally to the upside. So that might happen again. That's what I'm looking for, because if it happens in earnings, you could see we might bounce up, kind of hesitate, and then if we have a breakout on good earnings, that's the visual setup. Copy paste this here type of idea. that could happen in a bullish scenario. The exact opposite is true, like in the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war. If there's enough bearish news, we might lose the support, like in this blue box. Does that make sense? So in terms of the trend line up here, it's just like a repeat. So you can also copy paste the bearish scenario here. You might bounce up just on some oversold conditions, but if it's bad enough, you might lose the price. So just keep that in mind. Still in the daily downtrend. It's not uptrend anymore right now. That's why bears are in full control of this market because of what's happening with inflation and interest rates. So earnings, we'll have to see what happens here. For our swing traders out there who are trying to trade, the 1 hour is oversold, 15-minute is oversold on the RSI with some potential bottoming out here, but take a quick peek at futures before we move on. It already sold off a little bit. It's still under this EMA support, so there is a potential bounce maybe in the morning, 6:30, 9:30, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's possible just for a quick pop in the swing trade. But in terms of a broad market rally, we're going to have to wait for earnings, see what that reaction is for the next 30 to 60 days. And that kind of applies to the QQQs as well. NASDAQ here. I know people look at NASDAQ 100, but similar TA, but it's have to just keep doing it, right? We start on the weekly here, go pandemic low to pandemic high. We are below the 50% retrace. So obviously tech stocks got hit harder, obviously this whole year from top to bottom. We are in a bear market. Negative 32% down from the start of the year, 2022. Okay, so then the downside target is 256 down here. The upside resistance target 286 and 312. So there is some bullish momentum setting up, but it's going to take the fundamentals to really kickstart that catalyst trigger to the upside once inflation peaks and starts to come down, and then interest rates go flat before they come down again in the future. So the support level that I'm looking at right here, 266. Again, we're in the daily downtrend right now, daily downtrend. So this support is extremely critical right here in this blue line, 266, extremely critical. Bears are definitely, they had this nice little pullback down on news, but let's just try to see if we can hold this level throughout earnings. So same logic applies. If we have to wait for the tech earnings, obviously, but it's either going to make or break the support level. Is this upside down head and shoulders? Possibly. A little dirty at best. 5% breakout, bullish target if earnings are good. It's also kind of started to consolidate a little bit inside here. So the market is very mixed, obviously. It's not quite as oversold. It is getting there, though. We do have some bearish reaction, oversold reaction already in the Asia session this morning. Looking at my futures chart, it's getting a little bit of bullish recovery, but that's just Asia futures though. It's not the American session. So one bullish setup you might want to watch out for is if this starts to really gain momentum to the upside, you can have a nice rally like this, a swing trade again, 6%. In 24 hours, it's definitely possible if we get short squeezes in there. So just want to watch out for that. Okay, quickly move to DIA, Dow Jones, and then we'll move on. So Dow Jones on the weekly here, we'll get this large perspective. We're still in the daily and weekly downtrend, but let's just see where we are with our levels. Pandemic low to pandemic high. And just above 382. So the Dow Jones is not even anywhere close near the 50% Fibonacci retrace, which is down here at 268, or the 618 at 244. So it's still above. Looking left here on the blue box on the left side, it's still above the pandemic high. Okay, so this is why we're kind of fighting here. There's a gap as well right here at 277. So this is kind of where the bulls are trying to defend. Okay, it's not extremely oversold, still in the downtrend, not extremely oversold yet, We don't have a clear, perfect setup or of anything yet. There's no trend developing. It's still in the downtrend. The trend lines are still holding us down as such, right? So until we have a clear breakout and retest of this, it's not uptrend, it's downtrend right now, right? When I talk about bullish setups, it's very short term, because there's so much negative news catalyst that comes out and then pulls the market down. So this 4 hour is not even anywhere near the bottom, right? So swing traders might want to beware. The day traders might get a little bit of a taste of some volatility in the next couple of days. But for swing trading, you know, we're not completely bottomed on the 4 hour yet. The 1 hour is just like SPY and QQQ. So it's definitely possible, though, we can pull back further, because if you take a look at the 2-minute, 5-minute, it's not completely oversold yet. So you can get another crash before we truly bottom out, and then a rally attempt, a little bounce attempt, if it's possible. So that's the 3 indexes in a nutshell. Let's move on. So we have finance earnings coming out this week, and just don't mind all the background noise outside right now. But right now, XLF, okay, we have finance earnings. Some companies, just to name a few, is JP Morgan Chase Bank, Citigroup Bank, Morgan Stanley Financial Company, Wells Fargo Bank, US Bank Corp. There's a couple other ones in there, United Health, Delta Airlines, Pepsi drink, soda drink. So, but the main focus is the finance companies. That's really going to move the market here. So let's look at XLF, our financial ETF here, XLF. So obviously right on this chart on the daily, the support level right below $30 is our psychological support level. So we can look at it two ways. If we're going to have bullish earnings for whatever reasons, right, this support level needs to hold down here so we can have a nice weekly bounce. That's definitely possible, one scenario, right? If we uptrend again, just like June, July, that would be very beautiful to see for the bulls, right? That's some serious volatility, 10 to 20%, if it happens. Okay, that's one scenario. But if we keep this bearish resistance on the top side here, you could see it's actually in a descending triangle right now. So it's just stuck right here. This is the big question mark in the circle. If we lose support, same thing. It'll seek lower lows, lower highs. It'll probably lower low, bounce up here, retest, get rejected down. The EMAs are also down, downtrending. Right? So this support needs to hold. Tracking the indexes very well, right? This hourly is oversold and we're still in the downtrend. But what I do want to point out to people is, why am I not jumping in the market tomorrow with bullish green in my eyes? Because right here, it hasn't bottomed yet. There's no bottom formation. Previously, there was a bottom formation right in the box. You can see it go sideways. Price goes sideways. You hit the support 5 times. Okay, somebody wants to take a trade there. Fine, perfect, totally fine. Right? But if we just look at this price action here, this is day trading. This is not a swing trading setup, in my opinion. Right? You could get this one bounce for the day, like here, and it could crash down and just crash down for 3 more days. Right? We also have that finance data. So there's going to be a reaction to CPI, obviously, the consumer quote unquote inflation report, price report, right? So I'm not really getting excited about the market or even crypto until I see it go sideways, and then you could try to take a trade here. That's the key difference between catching a falling knife, which is very dangerous. Nobody knows where the bottom is, versus, okay, actually there's some evidence of it going sideways, consolidation. Obviously, if there's going to be a V-shaped recovery, that's going to be because of breaking news. 15-minute is low, the 1 hour is low, so that's why there's eventually going to be a bullish bounce at some point for day traders if the charts responds well to earnings. All right, let's take a quick glance at just visually some of these financial companies, just visually, before we move on to oil. Okay, let me clean up this chart. So JP Morgan Chase Bank is in the daily downtrend. Let me just open this. Let's do a quick support or resistance, low to high in the 618 zone. Interesting. So low target $90, resistance target above 120. That could be like a plus or minus like 5 to 10%. Interesting on JP Morgan. Take a quick look at Citigroup here. These are all downtrending, obviously. But Citigroup not doing so well in terms of the other ones. But it's lost to 618. So the resistance here on Citigroup is 47, the support at $39 with earnings very soon. Next company, MS Morgan Stanley, right? Do something slightly different with this one. Almost try to have a bull rally attempt. But see, this company is a little bit more healthy, right? They're trying to hold this upside down head and shoulders, nowhere near the 50% 618 retrace. So we have our support at $76, $67, resistance at 88. This one I might watch out for, just in case it happens to have a nice bounce. US Bank Corp, next company, low to high, right? This one's obviously in a clear downtrend. You can see you connect all the trend lines here on the top side and on the bottom side, clear downtrending channel. So this one, if we have good earnings, you can have a nice bounce up to the 50% to $43, or if it's bad earnings right here on this X marks the spot, 37 or lower, because there is a gap on this left side for support levels. Okay, we'll do one more in here because it's travel related. Delta Airlines, DAL. We have Delta Airlines. Obviously, if you've known, the travel space in the past 2 years has been hit very negative because of COVID pandemic, less travel. People are starting to travel more this summer that I've noticed on the numbers, but still in the downtrend, obviously. So low to high, and this kind of an ugly chart, so to speak, in terms of the price action. Kind of have to, it's a weird downward sloping megaphone wedge pattern, I like to call it, but tracking the Dow Jones very closely, and it's trying to just hold the support level bounce pivot point right here at $27. Almost looking like a carbon copy of the Dow Jones. So we just kind of hold this in here, watching these levels. So support level of $27. Hopefully it'll hold the gap support right here above 29, but anything goes for this this financial report. Okay, next, let's just move on. Try to go faster here. We'll take a quick little glance at oil and get natural gas. Okay, so here, now what I want to point out on US oil is, why did we bounce here? Remember last week I was saying watch out for the OPEC, the OPEC meeting. What happened there? They basically, to my understanding, cut the supply. So when they cut the supply, the price is going to go up. It's more valuable, right? More expensive. So we had this low setup here in terms of hit this hit the support yellow box down here. And the 4 hour was oversold and the 1 hour was oversold down here. And this is what I'm saying of not trying to catch the falling knife here, but when it starts to go sideways and reverse into a trend change, that's absolutely critical. We went from a downtrend sideways, and then somebody could have tempted on that OPEC news the day after or day of it happened. They interpreted it correctly, and the price, wait a second, this thing might go up, break highs previous day, and buying at the end of the day or middle of the day, that's a 15% gain with a 5% stop loss. That's a swing trading setup right there, for example. So now where are we? Well, it's kind of in the overbought range. It's not good to belong it now in terms of that particular setup. And it's still uptrending though on the 1 hour though, right? So if this is going to continue to go up, USO, it has to sell off a little bit, right? This is kind of a steep move, 20% in 2 weeks. That's kind of a little bit too steep, right? But in terms of zooming out into the daily, watch out. We're hitting this daily resistance. I have to draw this here a little messy, but it is there, right? The channel is there. We're at the top of this channel. Let me erase this. We're at the top of this channel here, right here, like that on the blue. So you want to watch out for that. I try not to buy tops of channels or tops of anything because it could pull back halfway to lose 10% immediately. So just watch out for that in USO. Natural gas, UNG. So natural gas, obviously not bouncing on that OPEC news. it's just struggling at the support level here. The price, I mean. So this is what I'm saying is we had the head and shoulders set up and the target was negative 25% to the downside. We didn't quite get there. We went about halfway. We're struggling. The price is struggling here for UNG right at the support level. So two things are going to happen. Just like what we've been talking about for 20 minutes, I've been talking about for 20 minutes, is this support level is either going to hold, yes or no. It's going to be almost binary, right? In terms of can we hold the support above 21.73 right here? Is it going to be upside down, head and shoulders? If it is bullish, okay, 10% to the upside, right? That's why there's going to be risk involved on this particular trade. If not, low high. If it doesn't bounce lower high, this is our lower high being set, and then we could see a lower low all the way down to 18. Down to 18. Definitely possible. We have this resistance on the top side here on counterbody wicks. So it could be interpreted as a channel, could be interpreted as head and shoulder continuation. At least the short-term bulls are trying to defend it down there. That's what they're trying to do. Let's go to gold. I'll take a quick look at GC futures, gold futures for this one, just to get some more accurate data. The day chart here. Gold, not really holding up so well. We had a slight double top here at the $2,000 to $2,100 range. Also, we have these trend lines going sideways. Basically, could be considered a gigantic, large flag. The weekly, right? The weekly double topped. So just in case, 14% volatility, right, over time. So this is my big resistance at the top, $2,000. All right, so just want to see the support. It did bounce. We had a nice little 3% bounce, but in terms of what I want to see more is I want to see stronger support. I want to see stronger support. So even if it falls down, that's fine. It needs to hold above 1634, and then maybe we'll get a bull rally and a trend change. Right, it's still in the downtrend, but when it gets near a relative bottom, that's where I might want to enter. Is it at the bottom right now? No, not really. It was here on September 26, 1624. So unless it breaks out and goes to the upside, I'm expecting a little bit of maybe pullback. It's definitely possible. Definitely possible. It's attempting the trend change. Attempting. It could bounce from here, right? If it's going to go high, low, high, low, high, perfect. But if it goes high, low, lower, high, then it's going to come down again and test this. So two things to watch out for. Excuse me, one moment. Okay, let's move on to crypto. And I'll do about 5 to 10 more minutes, and then we're going to end the stream. I'm going just the core essentials for what most people are looking at. Maybe I'll do a little bit of Forex at the end here. But total. So let's move on to crypto. Total market cap in the crypto space. Okay. So still consolidating to the side. Crypto's holding up surprisingly well in terms of when the stock market has a steep crash. Crypto's not really crashing as hard as it should be. So that's good. That means some people are hodling and just not being bothered by all this volatility, which is good for the crypto space. It is going sideways here. The big measured move is 25%, 12 to 25%. So just get those targets an idea. It could be 1.03 trillion to the upside or 800 billion to the downside. So I'm closely watching the break of either 1.03 or the breakdown of 862 billion. Keep in mind, we're still in the daily downtrend on crypto. Hopefully, if this support level holds above 860 billion, we could try to higher low our way uptrend out of here for crypto over time. Right? Are we going to get a Christmas Santa Claus rally, as crypto traders like to call it? Maybe. If earnings are good and stock earnings go up, fintech earnings go up, okay, crypto might have a shot. Right? That's why the market is hesitating the week before earnings. So just please keep that in mind. On the weekly, we do have this liquidity zone here, the 750 billion range on the yellow box down here is our support zone. So hopefully we can hold here and try to create that double bottom and try to bounce up to 1.2 trillion, which would be very nice for crypto space. holding above that 786. We already tested the 618. That's why. Are we going to test it again? Something to watch out for. All right, let's go to Bitcoin. BTC USD. Just going to use Bitstamp. So Bitcoin here, you can see a little bit more clear of where's the support right at 18,000. 18,000 to 17,000 or 17.5. 17.5K. It would be beautiful for crypto traders on this weekly chart if we do not break the lows below 18,000. And if we can hold this blue support level, we might be able to break out on any positive momentum in stocks and crypto space. All right, but please keep in mind the inflation, until we see inflation come down, I'm not expecting huge rallies, like sustainable rallies in the market. It's just the psychology. All the big banks in America, Europe, and Asia, what are they doing every time there's bad news? They're selling, they're shorting. So until we have good news and we get a little short squeeze to short squeeze the whales out, the big banks, right? Retail might come back in later. So the big news is we got to hold support, defend it. If not, we could have a very, very short-lived lower high, lower low, and then dump down to lower lows. Bitcoin, let's get our fib levels up, wick to wick, low to high. Again, mathematically calculated, 786 level is holding very, very nicely. So I would like to see Bitcoin, bullish scenario, we could try to hit 27,000, 30,000. That's the next major resistance, 25 to 30K in the X. That's the bullish scenario, right? There is momentum. And if we look at the weekly, it is a little more oversold in stocks. But you can kind of feel it on the chart. It's squeezing to the side, right? Depending on what indicators you're using, it's starting to squeeze. It's getting tighter and tighter. So it's going to have to pop and break either up or down. And so there's the bull or bear setup for swing traders when it happens. 4 hour, not quite oversold, building a little bit of momentum, kind of in the middle of this range, not quite any extreme direction to get a more reliable trade. So when it's hesitating like this, it's weekend as well. Some of the banks are closed tomorrow in the USA, so that could be an issue with it as well. Stock market is still open tomorrow on Monday USA time, so we might see some additional volatility on that. Okay, but I'm keeping my eye on the big picture because I know people like their altcoins and such. So, if we happen to have a nice bull rally, we could see altcoin Christmas this year, definitely possible. Let's look at Ethereum USDT. Ethereum. We look at USD. Ethereum holding the higher low very nicely right here on this daily chart. Resistance. We have another resistance trend line on the top. We have there is a super, we're going to call it super support trend line here. That's kind of strange though. But it exists. It's real. But the fact that we're holding this higher low above $1,200, very good. Remember that a couple streams ago, we were talking about, it might have been in mid-September when we lost watching the 1,300 range, right? Saying, watch out for this. Because there's two support levels that's immediately obvious, 1,200 and 1,000, 1,100 as well. The resistance target on the upside, 1,600 and 2,000. So keeping those big numbers in mind, what is that risk to reward in terms of, let's just say I randomly bought right now. It's 10% to the downside with potentially 20% to the upside. That's a normal 2-to-1 reward to risk trade on a small to medium sized amount of capital swing trader investment. But is it extremely low right now in terms of the price? Relative to 1 year ago, it is actually low. It's not the lowest of all time, but it's still 70% discounted compared to 1 year ago. That's why keeping that long-term perspective in mind, if we hold the higher low, would be beautiful, would be absolutely beautiful for the bulls. But you can see that any bearish problems in the world, there's that 20% downside risk as well. So just something to think about. right? When we hit this fear low in June, that was a beautiful setup. I actually traded there. I traded Litecoin in that area. June, July, August, September, that was all Litecoin plays for me. But it's good that we're holding this. Want to watch that 1200? Gotta watch for that. Thank you for the follow on TradingView. Appreciate that. Thank you for watching on YouTube as well and Twitch. Let's just keep going here, and then we're gonna probably log off. If anybody has a request, just go ahead and let me know before the stream ends. I'll do like 1 or 2 requests. Let's do Binance Coin, and then we'll move on here. So Binance Coin, I have my old alerts, the resistance and the support as well. We're just looking at this daily chart, seeing, okay, is this going to turn into some upside down head and shoulders? We're seeing some evidence in some of the assets that we looked at today, but the market is still bearish as a whole. But if it happens to break out above 331, this thing could go 50% to the upside to $500 over time, right? So the two setups, high, low, is it going to go to the higher highs? Anywhere here, 300, 400, 500. If not, it could just have a weak bounce and reject all the way down to 200 as well. So that's why I have this channel set up right here. We could draw it as well like that. So it just, traders are definitely using this. They bounced off the 255 level to bounce. Still in the downtrend though, excuse me. Still in the downtrend. So until we break above the 200 EMA at $300, this is not really moving so much. Bears are still in control. The weekly setup, it is looking like it looks like there could be some momentum building here, but the 200 EMA is way down here, right? So if any bad news happens, you could have a flash crash all the way down to $200 on Binance Coin. Hopefully we hold the higher low and try to maintain that uptrend. Okay, we have a question here. Are we almost at bottom with small caps and penny stocks? They seem really beat down. You might have to give me an example of what you're looking at. For me, what I consider smaller caps, if you look at Russell 2000 as an indicator of some of the smaller cap companies, it's kind of like Dow Jones. If you've been in the stream the whole time here, is there these smaller companies and indexes, we're trying to hold this support level down here above 165. All right, so hopefully we have earnings coming up. That's why. So somebody could say, if I only look at the charts, if I didn't know anything about inflation or interest rates or government news or anything about that, and I could only make my decision based on this chart, I would say maybe we have a chance at a general tradable bottom. Right? Maybe we have a chance. But because I know the news of what's going to happen this week in the schedule is the earnings is going to be the big driver, yes or no, if we can get up to the top here, if we're going to bounce or not. We also know inflation needs to come down. Interest rates need to stabilize and stop going up. Inflation has stopped going up. Company earnings, supply chain is a big factor. So price shall be our guide here. I'm not going to get too bearish in the news right now, although we are downtrending. If we can hold this down here at 162, we have good earnings, just like June, July on this little box right here. We could get a repeat of that. And then there would be our answer. We would start to uptrend and we get a nice little short squeeze rally, probably up to at least 185 or 200 here. But then if earnings are bad, we might get a small bounce, fake out, and then it'll start downtrending even more. You could see the continuation pattern as such. So that would we need to see a little bit of more bullish momentum, but we're temporarily, I'm going to call it yellow light or orange light, like a traffic signal in the USA. It's yellow light. Maybe we might bounce. But, all the big players in stocks, they have to stop crashing, go sideways, and then start to go up. So this June, July rally, this was all led by Apple earnings. Apple had some pretty good earnings, and then we had short squeeze, and then everybody started jumping into Apple stock. Used the unbeatable tech stock of June, July, right? And then it crashed. So now I'm closely watching which one of our finance and tech stocks is going to be our big leader, either bull or bear. So I'm trying as a trader and analyst, it's always good to try to control my emotions, not get too bearish or too bullish, and try to remain somewhere around neutral and just let some of this news get factored in the earnings and just see which way we're going to break up or down in the next 30 days. Okay, everybody. I was going to try a different stream length today, so I'm going to call it here for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am live streaming on TradingView, YouTube, and Twitch. Thank you, everybody, for following and participating. Hope you have a nice trading and investing week, and I will see you next weekend. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.